That's
All
funny
right.
that's funny that the Washington people take Mark in, right? These guys seem such a nice, well-spoken guy, and taking a stray like Stewie.
I said you either love me or you hate me, you know. So some people they welcome me with open arms into their house, and other people they're like, I hate that guy.
All right, guys, welcome back. Yeah, long time no see. I forget when the last time, a couple of days ago, we did the little recap show of the Marmion tournament. But tonight we got a guest. We have Nick Miller of Washington coming on the podcast, so we're going to bring him on in a little bit. But top of mind, Jim, you were just last time we saw you, you were in Iowa in a hotel room. Now you're back home.
Yep.
Big duel, Iowa State. How was the atmosphere?
It's awesome. That's my first. That's the first time I ever been to a that's not the first time I've been to a college duel. I just thought about it. I was at Illinois Purdue once,
Okay.
years ago when they had like Illinois versus Indiana kids be hand for hand.
Yeah.
But that would be not even comparable. You know what I mean? I don't know how much an Illinois Purdue crowd you normally get, but it was awesome, and it was. I think there were 2,700 tickets sold that weren't like cashed in, if you want to call it, like from the weather. You know, the place was packed. To say the environment's electric is probably sounds like a TV commercial, but I mean I don't know how else to describe it. Like it's the vibe is electric.
How would you
It's
say the
cool.
fan mix was, Jim? Was it 50-50 Hawks Cyclones or heavier Cyclones because of the venue?
I'm gonna go 80-20, and I could just because it was like red. It was We're Red night, like We're Red, Cardinal Red out. I think how they have like black out, white out, red out. I don't know what it's called. It's called Cardinal Red. There was a lot of red, and I'm assuming most of the Hawkeye guys are wearing black, so there wasn't a ton of black in the crowds.
Gotcha.
So I'd say 80-20. There was a kid or a younger guy there was a Hawkeye guy right next to us, and he was cool. He's almost trying too hard, to to complain or be, but whatever. I mean, if that's maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's what makes him happy. Let me bark until somebody bites. But no, I don't think anybody cared. But it's neat, man. I mean, it's a big deal. Like they get a takedown, you hear it. A guy backs up, you hear, you hear the stalling. It's. I think them referees should almost wear earmuffs, because
Get
Yeah.
rid of
man,
the distractions.
you'd talk me into, you could talk me into anything with a crowd like that, almost anything with a crowd like that.
Yeah. No, it looked from the television it looked awesome, and obviously I've seen it before. I've been to a Hawkeye. I've been to plenty of Hawkeye duels. And I'm excited. It got me really pumped up and looking forward to just Jimmy going to Iowa State and being part of that. I mean, just that event alone is, it's going to be thousands of people to wrestle in front of. And yeah, it looked like a awesome environment. And then the fact that Iowa State, 20 years in the making, you lose for 20 years, like you almost think that it could never happen. And it's not really a rivalry if it goes for 20 years, right? And
No.
so I'm so glad that it happened, so that it reignites the actual rivalry. There's actually a back and forth now. There's something to talk about. So Nick Miller, Washington head coach, is coming on to kind of chat about Washington wrestling and the tournament coming up this week. But did you guys go to it last year?
No, because they changed the format back a little bit last year. Actually, so the year before it was duels. Last year, I think, was the first year for the tournament, and we didn't go or didn't get invited. I don't remember what the deal was, but then got back in for this year.
Okay. And how far is Washington from you guys?
So it's a suburb of Peoria, about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. Not bad.
Is that northwest?
It is northwest. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So it's just between Bloomington and Peoria, and a
Got it.
little north. Yep. Nice little school.
Who else do you have lined up indefinitely? Like, what other coach? Like, who else do you have?
Coaching wise?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
interviews or like,
So,
or just tournament talk. I guess.
yeah, tournament talk, right? Obviously, we got to get to rankings eventually. So, we got to figure out how to kind of balance all this. Eler and I are going to do a podcast this week. We're going to start the Legends of Illinois Wrestling series, and I want to revisit some of the past wrestlers, past brackets, state brackets, and kind of reintroduce people to how good people actually were. Make the bring the stories back, right? Because there's some good ones. And the first one we're going to do is Brandon Preeson. And so Preeson is my arch nemesis in high school. He beat me ever since 8th grade. He's my only loss at IHSA State. And I thought it'd be perfect to start with him just because, like, I think when you give people flowers, it's hard to give people flowers that maybe, beat you. I think this would be a good opportunity for the wrestling community to kind of see me, put that away and kind of like, honor his career. So if you guys have any ideas of other people, Mark Stewart, give me a list of people and tell me, their the history, and I'll reach out to them and set it
you
up.
have Brandon on?
Yeah, we're gonna have him on, and like I'm gonna bring up state brackets and talk about the brackets, talk about stories of the state tournament. Going into the state tournament, what were you thinking? What was the season like? So on and so forth. So all that stuff. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm more excited about that one just because I think so much of Illinois wrestling gets like forgotten. You hear about, oh, that guy was pretty good or whatever, and you don't know the story that went with it unless you've been around wrestling for so long. You don't know like what it was like in Champaign when Eric Tannenbaum got pinned, right? Like I want to hear that story from the horse's mouth. So it'll be.
So you're gonna Google on?
I know him, so yeah, I'll reach out to him. I think it'd be great.
The interesting part to all that to me is when you start connecting the dots with the heritage, the lineage, and then it just makes it all that much of a better story in a smaller world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there like a certain I don't, not age, but like a certain like you want them to have been gone for a while? Are you gonna do more or no rules?
Yeah, no rules. Like for me personally, I have obviously friends that I grew up wrestling, so there's people that I'll go to, and I'll reach out to those guys first. But there's so many that we'll never have enough time to get to all of them. I mean, there's so many. I could rattle off so many stories that just come off the top of my head. So
I personally would like to get Matt Lackey on there and have his account of the story of when he dropped me out in front of Cam's bar one night, just headbutted me in the nose and I just kissed the concrete like that.
All right, gentlemen, welcome Nick Miller to the podcast.
What's up, Coach?
How you doing, guys?
Nick Miller, head coach of Washington High School. Obviously a storied program. We're going to get the chance to know you a little bit more. I'm a little unfamiliar. Mark Stewart is pretty close with you. He knows you well. But
don't hold that against me.
Yeah. I just wanted to start, give me a little bit of background. When did where are you originally from? And when did you graduate high school?
I graduated in the mid-'90s. I was a 96 graduate. I'm actually Washington alumni. I wrestled there. I was there with Coach Medlin, Coach Webster. They were both a little bit older than me. I think Brian was 2 years older than me. Matt was a year older than me. That was my 3-man live go wrestling group. I took plenty of beatings from those guys back in the day. So, but yeah, I grew up in Washington, graduated there. And so, yeah, that's kind of the Washington connection, at least.
I got it. And then when did you get back into coaching?
So I had a very untraditional route out of high school. I actually walked away from wrestling when I graduated. I went into the workforce, did some factory work for a few years. And then my dad and I, we got approached by a lady from like our local park district about Washington didn't have a youth program back then. And this lady approached us and was like, hey, do you guys want to start this, youth club here in Washington. And so we kind of started that up, and that was my first dipping my toes in the water with coaching, and I loved it. Was really uncertain at that point where I wanted to go with the rest of my life. I had no definite plans. My wife now, we were dating at the time, and she was going into education, and it was just kind of one of those, it all clicked at the right time, and got my teaching degree, and then just full-time coaching. So
Got it. And at the time when you started the kids club, what was the situation in Washington?
we were not what we are now. We were what we were when I was in high school. We were, we had good individuals here and there. We've always had some solid individuals, but not the team depth that we had. So it was kind of a starting point, and it went in a lot of different directions from there. Like we just kind of had a hometown club for a while. And it was pretty much just based on Washington kids. And then over time, we kind of got linked up. There was a group out of Bloomington, Illinois called Central Elite, and we kind of got linked in with them and became a club with them. And just it's progressed from there into the club aspect. But that was probably that first step of trying to build that streamline through our program. So
Got it. And so obviously Brian Medlin was the head coach for a long time. What year did you come into taking over the head coaching position?
2017. So I think it was 18, I believe, was my first year as the head coach. And I was there prior to that. I was his assistant for like 12 years prior to that. It was, if you ask him, and it was probably true, it was kind of a co-head coaching situation. Like we did a lot of stuff, side by side, and decisions, and how we approached and ran the program. And so, I didn't want to see him go, but I understood he had a great opportunity, and it's been good for Illinois as a whole with the role he stepped into. But it was pretty seamless for me at that point, stepping into the head coaching role.
Yeah. Well, it just sounds like it's a benefit. I've coached a few different places, and one of the hardest parts is to have good help, not just good help that can do the things that need to be done, but people who are attached to like the long-term vision. And it seems like you and Brian and how many others were there that were like a core group of people who were really invested in the program kind of growing?
So initially it was really just Brian and I. I mean, we had other coaches around, but we were probably the two, driving the ship. And then Matt Webster was in Wisconsin at the time. He was living up there, and he was coaching at a school, Dodgeville, up in Wisconsin. And I was probably 2 or 3 years into Brian taking over as a head coach. Matt moved back to the area and came over, and he kind of started taking over. He took over our club, started running our club side. And so, I mean, that was right about the time. I mean, Cannon was probably in, I don't know, 2nd, 3rd grade, something like that. And so, and then he started to become, more, he would start to slip into the high school practices where his main priority then was running the club side of things, but he was in the high school room from time to time. And then as time went on, that just became a little bit more and a little bit more. So, I mean, from that point, I would say that it was kind of a 3-headed approach to it. So,
yeah. Well, and we were just talking a little bit before about some of the history that I'm excited to kind of go back and look into. You guys have been in the team game for a long time, but tons of individual success. Maybe off the top of your mind, what's a year in Washington wrestling that stands out in your mind?
So I go back to, our high school started this like Washington WCHS Hall of Fame. And they came around, the people that are on the committee, they came and they're like, hey, we want to induct the first team we got inducted was our first championship team in 2016. They're like, we want to induct this team this year. We put this team up. And I was like, okay, I get it. That's fine. I'm like, but I don't know that was our best team. I think the team the year before that, we lost to Montini by like 9 in the finals. I think Montini was top 10 in the country that year. They were pretty good. That was like I want to say Woods was maybe a freshman, sophomore, somewhere in that range. Like they were pretty, that was Melendez and Ruano, I think, might have been gone at that point, but they were pretty tough. And I think that was probably our best team. Now I put this out in like group chats and group text with some of our guys, and it is a very heated debate amongst those guys. They're like, nah, line it up. Like, we'll do it right now. Like, this team 2016 team was the best team. But from my viewpoint, not really more emotionally connected to either of them. That 2015 team was pretty good. We had Randy Miniweather, Elijah Oliver, and Jake Gadine. There was a ton of studs on that team. Warner was a sophomore, I think, that year. So that team they were pretty good.
Great. Yeah. There's a lot there. We'll have to revisit this at another time of the history of Washington. Mark, Dustin, Jim, you guys have any questions about Washington before we get into the tournament and what's coming up this week? You guys have any ideas or questions for?
I do. So obviously you guys got a youth program, but I know there's several surrounding programs that are probably still within school district range, or I know there's some people that would entertain moving to the area to wrestle for Washington in high school. What are the other feeder programs that feed into you guys, Nick, that are relevant?
Right here close to us, it's TJ Williams Club. It's right here in Washington. He runs a great club, and so like we have a lot, just being located here in Washington, we have a lot of kids that'll come into Washington High School that'll come out of his club. And we've kind of had some ups and downs through our club, like so many people got affected. COVID kind of threw us for a loop. And we've done some different things. We have a middle school program, and we've kind of linked our program to that. But TJ's is probably the only, right here in this definite area, like TJ's club is probably the only one that I would say we see kids come into our high school program out of there. So
cool. Yeah. Solid program there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there was one down by you, Super Soldiers. Are they
that
still
was
around?
us. So that was us. And then we've kind of just taken that, like it was Central Elite for a while. Super Soldiers was a thing. We just we put it in the kids' hands. We're like, hey, what do you guys want to call this club for the next few years? And you get a group. And it was like Cannon. Cannon was a Super Soldier group. He was probably 5th, 6th grade, and we were kind of changing it. And they were all into it was like from the Marvel movies. I think it was like the Captain America thing or something. I don't know. And they're like, let's be the Super Soldiers. And like, okay, sounds great. And so we rolled with it. And now we've got Coach Nowry, Max Nowry's running our club now. And so we have changed club names again. And I left it up to him. I'm like, dude, I don't care, whatever you want to call it. So now it's 309 Wrestling, but Central Elite, Super Soldiers, 309, it's all been the same group of guys for the most part.
Really? So again, this is news to me. So Max Nowry's down in Washington.
Yeah, Max lives in Washington. He moved here late last season. It was probably late January, February. So he ran a lot of our spring club, and he's working with our youth club, and we kind of get him and into the high school, kind of like Webster was when he first got to Washington. He's in some days with the high school, and he kind of just bounces the schedule around based on the club schedule days. So.
That's awesome.
He's been awesome. Yeah, he's been an amazing pickup.
He's awesome. Max is good. He was a roommate of mine at the Fargo camp back in high school.
Okay.
Yeah. We messed with the counselor because whoever would come and do bed checks and stuff. We had a good time. We messed with him pretty good.
He's awesome. He's one of those guys that just seamlessly fit in. Like the moment he got here, you almost feel like he's been here for years.
He's just a wrestler. I mean, he's just a wrestler, that he's all in.
Yeah.
So I got one more thing for you, Nick. You'd actually made a comment about things getting weird during COVID, and that's been like a pretty hot topic amongst the group at Illinois Wrestler about, how that affected the sport. It seemed like to me that it made two different levels. You ended up with the elite kids, and then you end up with the kids that weren't bought in and their parents were scared of their own shadow and kind of hid out for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and it kind of took away from the sport. I mean, when do you think we get back to a sense of, I will call it normalcy, I guess, in the sport?
I mean, I think we're there. You can't lose a chunk of time like that and just act like it didn't happen. Like it affected everyone, and some found. I mean, I know we did. I got miles and miles logged across 74 West up into Bettendorf. Like
Yeah.
we went up there a lot during
In the
during
Wisconsin
that time.
Dells. Yep.
Yeah, we went there a lot during that time frame, and and then others, like whether it was by a matter of afraid of what would happen, or just not having the time and resources to do it. Like some were able to work through it well, and and it's always going to be, if you're involved, like you were part of that, whether you were late youth wrestling, early high school, like it's going to impact you. You can't just make 2 years reappear. But I mean, I hope that everyone took the same approach and you made the best of it you could make. So
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. One thing's for sure, it made home wrestling gyms a lot more popular. That's for sure.
yes, yeah,
Hey, real quick,
yeah, man.
couldn't resist. I had to pull this up. I do remember those teams very well because I was at Grays Lake Central at the time. And the 2015 team that you think is the best, they probably are. I'm going to agree with that. But I just wanted to run down this roster real quick. It's wild. But you had Trey Keeley, Tyler Delaware, Dak Punky, Elijah Oliver, Ethan Reel, Blaze Punky, Ryder Punky, Caleb Miller, Kyle Going, Randy Menoweather, Jacob Warner, Jake Godinez. I left a few out that aren't as like popular names, right? Some of those kids were really good, and they were back up. That team's loaded, and it still lost to. That's how good Montini Catholic was at the time. That was a 9-point match. That team's loaded.
And there's a kid you didn't mention in there, and I've talked about it. It's still to this day one of those things where you just kind of play the what ifs. Kid named Brad Howe.
Okay.
So Brad Howe at the end, we had two 15-pounders that year, and Brad Howe wrestled Michael Johnson at the individual state tournament to like a 3-0 match. And then for whatever reason, we got in our head off of that because we saw him and Godinez in the room. We're like, you know what, let's make this switch and let's go wrestle Godinez against Johnson. And I think Jake ended up getting pinned in the duel by Michael Johnson, and we were like, that didn't quite come out the way we thought. That was one we thought maybe we could steal something there, but it didn't play out that way. So,
yeah.
Hey, real quick, since then you guys combined with them when you guys started your club, who was running Central Elite out of Bloomington at the time?
I know. So Medlin's nephew Mason was wrestling there. Mike Baker, who was Dylan Reel's stepdad, Mike was real involved in it. Medlin ran a lot of the practices. They had another guy over there that Kevin Deering was his name. He was kind of the administrative guy, just took care of the schedules and that stuff. But I think from a practice standpoint, I wasn't over there. I wasn't. So it did kind of originate in Normal before it came to Washington. And then what we did, we actually ran like a split site club. We had a site in Normal. We had a site in Washington. But prior to that, I think Medlin was running a lot of the practices over in Bloomington Normal. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Central Elite.
Yeah. And I was, who ran that? But I do remember hearing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a collective thing, I think, though.
Yeah. Well, so we've learned a little bit about some of the past stuff, and obviously there could be tons more to go into. Yeah. But we're in 2025 going into this season. What's this season kind of look like for you guys? How's your roster? How's your depth? What are you excited about? Yeah.
I think we're in that same spot. Really, we're in the same spot we are this time every year. We talk about to our, especially coming off of a successful year, like we were runner up last year. And I've already told this group, you're not the runner up. You're not state runner up. I have no idea who you are. So we're kind of in that mode of finding our identity as a team. We know where we're good. We've got some hammers in there, some pretty tough kids. But our team side of it is, we tell them like we're as strong as our weakest link. Like that's the way it goes. And so, there's some of those guys that are, maybe the guys that Mark would have left off that list as he read down the lineup. Those are the team side. Those are the important guys. Like those are the guys that are are going to, keep a match to a decision or a major that maybe they should give up, and for those guys, we're in that mode right now of kind of figuring out who they are and who they're going to be for us. And, that's the way we build our schedule. We try to put, as many tough tournaments, especially in December, on our schedule as we can. I don't care about your win-loss record. If that's your concern, you're probably in the wrong program. But we want to know when the chips are on the table, who are you going to be for us? And so, we went to Marmion last Wednesday, and that was tough. There was some great matches there. We started to learn some of those things. We talk a lot about just gather data. Let's figure out, where are we deficient, and so we're very much in that process. I don't know who they'll be. That's really up to them. We're going to try to give them the best roadway we can to be who they're capable of. But we'll see. It's as it is every year. It's to be determined at this point. So.
And how much do you focus on the team element? Like, you guys have obviously a storied program. You've been in the team conversation of team state and stuff. Is that a primary focus for the team when kids come in? It's like, is it we're looking to build a team to go to the state, or do you kind of just let that kind of unfold with the individuals that you have?
I think it's organic. I mean, we're focused on, it's an individually competed sport, obviously, but it's always kind of that underbelly of our practices. And, there's always kind of that given of, hey, can you go out and do something great for someone that's not you? You're going to walk out on a mat and yeah, you're the only one out there, and we're going to ask a lot of you. And, and that's where I think that battle tested part comes in of some of these guys, we know it, you're going to take some beatings this year, and it's going to happen, but there's going to come that important point late in the season where, we hope that those beatings have taught you how to fight through some of those spots and, go do. I mean, I can think of so many spots where, it wasn't Jake Warner. It was some guy that really not very many people would know their name and did something that was pretty impressive so it's always kind of at the underbelly, but in terms of preparation and, just we're still individually focused. We're going to be as good as, and we've got all those individual goals along the way. We're sending 3 guys here in a couple of weeks to the Ironman. We pulled 2 placers out of there last year. I'm hoping to send 3 guys and get 3 placers there. So there's always those individual steps along the way, but the team aspect is definitely at the surface of everything we do.
Got it. Who's the third guy that's going?
Simon Woods, our 106 pounder.
Okay. Got it.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. And this last weekend, he didn't have, I mean, who did he lose to in the semis?
Gil from Marist.
Okay. And Gil was tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Simon weighed in at 102.
Okay.
He's not a huge 6-pounder. And Gil was big. He was, I was
everyone talked about how big he was.
They walked out there and I was like, I knew Simon was a little bit small, but I was like, dang, man, he looks like he is just dwarfing himself.
Yeah. Okay. So those 3 guys are going out to Ironman. Before we get into the tournament, I know you guys have, I believe Mark Stewart released the info that you guys will be dueling Marion Central Catholic this year.
Yep.
And again, that's a great duel because they're 2A, you guys are 2A, that might become a state duel potential. And a lot of people would avoid that. A lot of people would choose to not do that. What was your thought process behind that?
Well, we're going to wrestle you at some point. Let's go ahead and throw it out there. And honestly, they're a team that, even before this year, if I've reached out, it's just always that scheduling aspect. I've talked to Jordan a couple times the last couple of years, trying to get him on our schedule. If we're in Illinois, we don't mind traveling. So, but if we can keep in Illinois and we can find teams that are going to benefit from a competition standpoint, benefit our guys, again, win-loss records, I could care less. Let's go and scrap with as many of those teams as you can. But, at the end of the day, there's only so many duels you can get in, and, everyone's trying to find ways to bend their own schedule to work for them. So we don't get everybody, but we try.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it because we've talked about just, teams wrestling people this year and then not the next year because their lineups aren't that good or whatever. And we just really appreciate the fact that there's some big duels within the state that are happening, and people aren't afraid of putting it out there and stuff. And
It's great for wrestling.
Yeah.
It's great for the sport for sure. We talk a lot about it at the college level.
Yeah.
We can't take a different opinion because it more directly affects us. Like we got to look to do the same thing at the high school level too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that clears the table. This week, you guys are hosting a tournament. Tell us a little bit about your tournament. How many teams are there? How long has it been going?
This is our fourth year, I think, that we've been doing this tournament. 8 teams, but we try to pack 8 pretty good teams in there. We lost one just due to we had Rockton Hononegah in there this weekend as well. And I talked to Coach DeMoss over the summer, and he's like, yeah, sounds great. And then we got back to school, and the AD had signed a contract for another event that they wouldn't let him get out of. And so we lost them, and then we picked up Plano in place of Hononegah. But we got Plano, us, Oak Park, Tolono, Unity, Rock Island, IC Catholic. I'm forgetting one.
Oakwood.
Salt Fork.
Salt Fork.
Oakwood.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's right in front of me. How did I forget that one? Figures, right?
That works.
Yeah. And so format wise, we kind of run it in pools in the morning. So we'll seed like the top 4 kids at each weight off the seeding criteria we set. And then we'll put them in pools of 4, and they'll get 3 matches there. And then we just cross over the pool winners will wrestle for first, and the seconds will wrestle for third, and down to, so, we need kids to wrestle. And I know sometimes just for, time and everything, like I hate the 0-2 tournaments though. Like I hate those tournaments that you can go 0-2. That's one of the big reasons we got out of Barrington last year and jumped to Marmy. And I was like, okay, we can get all of our kids 4 to 5 matches. Like that's going to be big down the road. And again, it's that same idea we talked about earlier of like, I need those kids that no one really knows. I need those kids to get that exposure and get that mat time. So get, like I said, get plenty of matches. And we run into, every year we do this, we run into, some issues where a bracket's not full, and, we may have to, we'll usually at that point, if there's only 6 or whatever, 5, I think I did a 5-man round robin, and one of them, like we'll change the format of a weight class that's not full just to we want to get as many matches in for each kid as we can. So.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. I think, especially like what you said, it's not even the really, really, good guys. It's not that important for those guys. It's important for the guys that are trying to qualify for state and place in the state, that, they need those matches to see what they're made of, to figure out how to win a match and go through 3 periods and stuff like that. And sometimes if you lose to 2 good guys, or, you're just sitting around, you're not really getting anything out of it. So
may get a bad draw and draw, 2 studs, and then it's just a wasted day. We only get so many opportunities anyways. Got to make the most of them.
Exactly.
I always say those are the guys that you got to rely on in a dual team environment, and you maybe know that they're not going to win their match, but maybe it's just a decision, or not a major or a tech or a pin, because they've had that mat time experience against those higher level guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you guys started this tournament, was it kind of with the awareness that Ironman's going to be something that you guys are always going to have on the schedule for guys? So it's like, there's a little, prep to it. Or was it just kind of a coincidence of putting it at this date?
This is actually the first year it's fell before Ironman. So last year it's kind of bounced around. The first, I might be off. It might be, this is only the 3rd year we've done it. First year it was right before Christmas, like the 22nd, 23rd. And then last year, I think it was the week after the Ironman. And so this year, none of that really played into, it will definitely be a nice perk of it, but none of the decision of the placement of it played in that. Just it's where it fell best in our schedule this year.
Yeah. Got it. Cool. You guys got any questions? Let's pass it over to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we can always put Coach Miller on the spot. Wyatt Medlin, baby. 157 or 165? Yes. Isn't that the answer I got?
Yes. And it's a true answer. It's not talking around it. It's a true answer. He's certified up at Marmion this week for 57. He'll wrestle 57 at the Ironman, and then probably 65 the rest of the year. But there's always try to have that option. I mean, I'm not going to say that down the road we don't look at a team in front of us and go, hey, we would be best fit to have him at 57 and be able to float guys. So you never know.
Yeah.
But so the answer is yes.
Yes. I mean, here's the thing. There's so many matchups that we talk about on the podcast, and we're like looking, man, we want to see that matchup. And obviously one that we want to see is Medlin and Heeg. We got to see Medlin and Wardlow, and that was a great match as well. To see a 3-man round robin between those guys would be a great match.
All three going to be out there. So
yeah. And then again, 65 is not or 57 is right. 65, sorry, is not a joke either, because Liam Kelly, he's tough too. So we're going to get a great match between some great wrestlers regardless. Luckily, Illinois, I mean, obviously maybe not at a state tournament, but maybe at the Ironman, we're going to see some good matches.
Well, we got that. Speaking of talking about our tournament, we got that match last year at our tournament. We got Wyatt and Liam last year.
Really?
That was the finals of our tournament last year.
Got it.
We lost Mount Carmel in that tournament this year. They went to, I think they go to Donnybrook maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got that. Actually, Wyatt was talking about that a couple of days ago. He goes, the only like really good matches I've had in our home tournament has been against Mount Carmel. He wrestled 2 years ago. He wrestled Seth. Seth bumped up, and he wrestled Mendoza in the finals. And then last year he had him in the finals. So
great.
Our coach, are there any matchups that you're anticipating, or ones that anybody are talking about for this weekend already? I've got a couple in mind, but
I'm glad you do, because I haven't had time to look at it at all. Yeah. I have no clue. I know the teams that are there, and I just knowing the teams that are there, there's going to be some good ones that are going to shake out. Sure. But I'm interested actually to hear who. Maybe it'll give me a heads up.
At 32, I'm looking forward to a Mason Swartz Max Cumbie match.
Okay.
Should be a good one.
Yeah. What else you got, Ealer?
I think my son might get a rematch with Jack Hanrahan at 38 from IC. They wrestled their 7th grade year at IK State. Okay. Trying to think. We'll see. I got a couple more in mind. Maybe we can talk about it later. Do you think, hey, Coach, you think we'll get our hands on the roster so we could do a preview of the event again later in the week?
Well, if I can get, I sent a message out this morning to all of them, because we try to fill those brackets up. So I sent them all a message this morning, said, hey, get me your lineups as soon as possible, because I want to get, extras in. If we can get extras in, try to fill the weight classes. But as of walking out of my office before practice this afternoon, I think I only saw like 2.5 teams that had started to put their stuff in. So
yeah, these coaches got to get on top of it. Well, hopefully they put it out to you, and we'll be able to chat and maybe see if we can get a list and kind of preview. Last time we previewed Marmion, we got to kind of to see some of the speculation. We didn't get to see everything come to fruition, but we got a little glimpse into it. Jim, you were about to say something.
Who's all Brody Kelly is the kid I'm thinking of, like at 175 for IC. Who else would be around at 175 that's good on all them guys? Is there who's another hot dog at 175?
Another hot dog.
Does Unity, what's Abraham Davidson?
He's at 65, I think.
Okay, I couldn't remember if he was 65 or 75.
Yeah, I believe he's at 65.
Okay.
In Rink, is he a Tolono kid?
Who's that?
Ryan Rink.
He graduated.
I think he's gone.
Graduated.
Yeah. I do have another question. So, we missed him last week. So, Hoffer just he's commit to University of Illinois. He won state last year. Did he win state?
Yeah.
And he's obviously going to Ironman. What weight are we going to see him at this year? And is that another yes.
No,
question.
Wyatt wasn't a yes. Mark just makes it sound
Okay.
all conspicuous. It was truly a yes. Like he's wrestling 57 and then probably 65.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be at 215. And it might be the same thing. So he's a football guy. Our team made the quarterfinals. So it's just giving him time to get his weight down. I could have thrown him in and tested him already, but that 1.5% they follow, a lot of those guys coming out of football, they just lose it naturally faster than that. And we really want him to be able to wrestle at the Ironman. And so we just needed to give him a little more time. I still am not sure if he'll roll this week or not yet. We'll see. We're kind of in the mix of whether or not we'll get him out this weekend. He really needs to. I want him to, but it's going to come down to playing the body fat test game. So we'll see.
Yep. Well, guys, listen, Nick, Coach, you've done awesome so far. If these guys don't have any other questions for you, I'll let you go. But I appreciate your time, guys. Anything?
Thanks for your time, Coach.
I was just gonna say, now it's not about the tournament, it's about Washington in general. I've been down there a couple of times for the Fargo camp they run in Washington. It's cool. There's a good wrestling vibe, culture, whatever you want to call it, in the town, in the school there. They got a real cool like they love wrestling down there, and you can tell.
Yeah.
They also have one of the coolest bars I've ever been. As a recovered alcoholic, I still like bars, but they have the W Down Under, and like, man, is that a cool little bar? You would never guess you're walking into a bar. You go down these steps and the door, and you open it up, and there's this big ass bar in a basement.
It's a fun place.
Fun as heck, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't hit on this too. You guys talked about the Marion. Marion is actually, that's a cool, that event that we do that Marion's coming up to. We do that one it's not at our high school. We do it at our community center. And we've done it years ago. It was Medlin's baby. He kind of built it. I've just kept it going, but call it the Dubtown Throwdown. And they'll wrestle like on a stage, and the kids will all get like walkout music and like a spotlight entrance. And so on top of the fact that it's going to be a great night of wrestling, it's a pretty cool event too.
What's the date on that, Coach?
It is January 23rd. So it's going to be, it's a night. I'm going to be honest, as excited as I am for that event and to wrestle Marion. Our conference dropped a bomb on us this year. They decided they wanted to combine our JV girls and varsity conference all into one weekend. And they're going to do JV on Friday night and then varsity boys and girls on Saturday. And we just so happen to be the host of the conference this year. And so I have to run our JV conference and the meet with Marion over there at the same time. So as excited as I am, there's a part of that night that I am not looking forward to.
Well,
Hey.
let's see what the rest of the guys say, but maybe I can run over or something and we can stream that. What do you think, Dalton?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, if Coach is open to it, I'm always open to it. I want to preview. I want to showcase the best, and if that's happening, I want to be there. So,
hey, real quick, does the visiting opponent get his own walkout music too, or is this a hometown bias type deal?
No, both sides. No.
I would do the hometown bias personally. If I was you, I would be like, you don't get no music, man.
It's not about Washington. It's about wrestling. I actually tell our guys at night, I'm like, go score 1 million points. And we try to pull people. We promote in our area pretty good and try to pull people in, maybe that aren't even wrestling people. Like, hey, just come watch this cool high school event. And, so I'm like, talk to them before. I'm like, go put on a show, fellas. Like, let it fly and go score a bunch of points and make it awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think just off the top of my head, I think there's going to be, a very big matchup they could have at 215 that would be obviously electric match. I mean, and we might end up seeing it again at the state tournament. We might see it at team state. So, yeah, there's definitely matchups that we can promote and talk about and get excited about. That's for sure.
Good for wrestling.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I appreciate your time. We all appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you having me.
And yeah, we'll catch up this weekend at the tournament.
Sounds great.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Nick.
Bye-bye.
That's
All
funny
right.
that's funny that the Washington people take Mark in, right? These guys seem such a nice, well-spoken guy, and taking a stray like Stewie.
I said, you either love me or you hate me, So some people, they welcome me with open arms into their house. And other people, they're like, I hate that guy. And I'm okay. Down in Washington, they love me.
Yeah.
Wyatt Medlin didn't like me much this weekend. And I was like, wait, I was the one backing you, bro. But that's more Wyatt's humor.
Yeah.
He saw the podcast, Dalton.
He was watching, huh?
Yep. Well, showed him something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always wondering how many people are watching, especially the kids. Obviously, from my standpoint, I just appreciate all wrestlers, and yeah, if you're putting it on the line, I got love for you. So
Yeah.
So you guys will be down there for that then, won't you, Jim? For that tournament or that duel
Yeah,
he's talking
I didn't
about?
know January 20th. Yeah, I didn't really. I knew about. I should say I knew about it, but I didn't remember until he said something about it. So yeah.
Well, Penn could stream that then.
Yeah.
I've heard about it for years. My buddies that are down there have told me every year, like, you coming down for Dubtown? You coming down you got to come down. You got to come down. It's so cool. And it's like never really worked out. It's like, dude, the only thing I'd be going down there is to watch a duel. I wouldn't have any like horse in the race. I love the
They used to wrestle.
You could go to the bar.
Did they rest?
the
No, you can't.
W
Did they used to wrestle Coal City?
No,
Is
I
that
think
who? Oh,
they wrestle Morton. A lot of times they just
Morton.
wrestle because that's the town next to them. That's like their rival.
yeah.
Okay.
But
And so this year, will it just be? I should have asked this question. Will it just be Marion?
yep.
Awesome. So a
Yep.
showcase duel on the stage. Awesome. And they
Yep.
better start at heavyweight. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee Jimmy goes 215.
Well, if they start at heavyweight, there is.
Possibly. Why are we letting cats up the bag?
Well, I don't know. I'm not in control of any cats.
Yeah.
I just know if there's a match, I know somebody ain't scared of it. So,
I know, but if he's gonna wrestle a good not saying that he hasn't wrestled good 215s, but that's something you want to be at least 200 pounds for. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
Fuck
wonder
making
how
90 that
big
day.
is that guy?
Hoffer's a big boy.
Big boy.
Every bit of 235 during football.
Ooh.
All day.
Yeah.
Coach Miller's not lying. Like, we all know that football weight comes off a lot easier than 1 a week. So simple math tells you he's had a few weeks. He's probably a little bit heavy for football, which I don't blame him. It's not the same as wrestling shape. So Hoffer's a big boy, and you don't walking out there at 191 when he's on a certain regiment to make 215, giving up 25 pounds against somebody that's that high level.
Yeah.
But 202, 205? Fuck
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, we'll see. Either way, there's a potential there. There's a lot of fun matchups. Again, I think just being able to watch some of these guys compete is also going to be fun. So glad that they got 3 guys out going to the Ironman. Glad to hear that I'm just thought it went great. I enjoyed that little lesson. I do remember. So I coached at Montini. I'm trying to think what year, but I think it was one of those years that he was talking about that I was on the bench when Montini beat Washington. But yeah, anything else, guys? I thought that was good. I enjoyed it.
It was great.
We got to sooner than later. Tulsa. We got to talk about Tulsa.
I thought we talked
Tulsa, Donnybrook, Barrington tournament. Anything? Did we already do that one? Kind of, sort of.
We
did that.
kind of did that one.
the one thing I did find interesting about Barrington, though, real quick, people don't want to do it because it's 2 days, right? They're like, oh, it's got to be 2 days. Well, with inclement snowstorm coming, they miraculously were able to do it in 1 day.
Right.
They got out of there at 9:30, and kids who lost in the first round were not able to wrestle all the way back to third.
It's no different than Marmion.
Yeah.
They can't wrestle back to third. So what's the diff, right?
Yeah. So it's like they did it a day later, but they were able to actually do it. Certain things can come up, and we can miraculously run the event in 1 day.
Yeah, and again, one of the things I thought was cool for hearing another coach say out loud is that they got out of that tournament because they don't run a certain type of tournament, which is really cool because it's going to push people to run that other type of tournament, because I think that other type of tournament is the no-brainer for a lot of these teams. It gives the guys the most matches. It guarantees that they get mixed into, competitive matches as opposed to just getting, beat and out. And yeah,
So
Yeah.
the only other thing to that statement though, Dalton, is what's it going to do to match count for some of these guys when you start stacking these tournaments where they're going to get 4 and 5 matches a weekend on top of one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I
I
think
think-
they'll adjust, right? Yeah, go ahead. Jim.
That's when you start looking at match count and saying, well, why? You know,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Why haven't you governed enough?
Yeah, yeah. That's another React session about just over. I mean, what is the limit? Like, again, I think match counts now. If you didn't have a match count, obviously that changes a lot of like records, right? Like team records, individual records, right? Like I can't brag about my records anymore because some kid's just going to have more wins than me, but I don't care, right? The match count thing is just why would you say that you can't have a certain number of matches? Like what's
and
what's the excuse?
You can't talk about protecting records because 3-point takedowns change everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Different weight classes change everything. You were a 99 pounder, or somebody was a 99 pounder, not a 106 or a 103. You know what I mean? So records are records. I mean,
yeah. I'm not necessarily thinking that that's their reasoning as to why they don't have match counts, but what do you think, Mark Stewart? What is the reasoning behind match counts?
Just going back to the equity quotes and phrases that are commonly used, I believe that they think that it creates an equitable field where on 2 parts. One, hey, we don't want kids wrestling way too much. They could get hurt. It wears them down. Okay, that's one thing. But if they can limit a match count, it limits opportunity for it. And at the same time, it says, hey, you all get the same opportunity, 45, 50, 35, whatever the number they choose any given year. I don't even remember what it is. But my rebuttal to that is like, when we're looking for equity, attention, Craig Anderson, when we're looking for equity, if we have kids that are relatively new to the sport, the best thing for them, what we've seen time and time again, is wrestling as many matches as they can in the off season. Well, if you could include the regular season, it only increases the likelihood of them having success, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and my argument would be, so I would have a, I don't know if it's pushback or counter position, but one of the things that I think is very problematic with like newer kids, less developed kids, is they'll wrestle on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and they won't practice all week. And I think if you practice more and had these big match tournaments
on the
towards the
weekends,
weekends, that would be the best scenario for development, because you get 4 days in a row of getting, reps in, good situational awareness. You learn wrestling, and then you go to these tournaments and you get 5-6 matches or whatever, how many matches you can get. And that just is going to, help both of our positions, right? You're going to get a lot of matches in, which is going to get you a lot of mat exposure. You're going to feel what it feels like to be in a match scenario. You're going to learn what it feels like to try to win, whatever. But in the practice, you're going to get a lot of practices as well. So, because as a high school coach at a small school like Belvedere, where, as a co-op program, some of these kids didn't get enough practice because we'd have to go to duel every other day. And I would be like, what's the point of this? But I've definitely been in support of what you're saying, Mark, is like, I wish that all the kids would go to a tournament on the weekends and get a ton of matches, and just constantly get practice, because that's the game we're playing.
Big proponent, like, hey, max out your Friday night and your Saturdays. Leave your Mondays through Thursdays alone. I remember these similar what you just said, where like we wrestled on a Tuesday, then a Thursday, and then on a Saturday. Well, because you didn't wrestle Friday, you don't get a +1 on Saturday unless somebody else is giving it. So Friday's like a half-ass practice and more of a weight cut. Well, what do you think Wednesday was? The same damn thing. What was Monday? Because you're coming off a weekend. Oh, weight cut. And it was like, we're really not helping our kids get better. So it's like, I always fought the Tuesday, Wednesday duels. Like, we want that off the schedule, reschedule it.
Yeah.
Sometimes your ADs are cool, but I would be a big fan of just make Friday nights like a quad night or quads and tries only. Get rid of your Monday through Thursday dual meets, and even conference. Put 3 teams in the conference or 4 teams in the conference and scrap on Friday. And then go wrestle 5 matches on Saturday. That gives you 4 days of practice.
I agree.
I
I
know,
agree with
just
Stewie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, him saying that, like I'm sitting here, I have all the answers, of course, but yeah, man, I can't imagine trying to schedule something with the format and everything you had that goes along with it. I can't. I mean, it's got to be brutal. It has to be brutal.
Well,
But
I think the last two events that happened between Barrington and Marmion, I think you're going to see the landscape shift towards those types of events in Illinois. I really do.
well, tell me this much: if you have a tournament like Barrington or Marmion, God, I hope this is not stupid. If you have a tournament like that, can't you bring your JV guys as well?
Hmm.
Why wouldn't you? Because they're right. I mean, isn't that better for the team aspect of it all?
What do you
Because
mean
you
bring
can
your
have more.
baby?
Bring your JV guys. You can have 2 guys per weight class.
Oh,
So
does
bring your
Barrington do
other.
that though? I don't think Barrington does that.
You can't no, but
Oh,
Only
there's a lot of
Marmion, though.
times,
Marmion
team,
for sure.
but there's so like Marmion did it and
Sycamore does
they're
it. They have the same bracket
yeah.
aspect as
So
as
they'll
long as you run the bracket style that Marmion did, you can do that. If you run a straight bracket, you can't do that.
yeah.
yeah.
So what they did was, they filled as many as they could. They got everybody's rosters, and then they opened it back up and were like, hey, we've got spots at this weight and this weight. Bring them in if you can. And there's still going to be some guys that are sick, still going to be some guys that blow weight, whatever. But yeah, there's definitely an opportunity to fill brackets up.
Yeah, if you can bring two guys per team or 2 guys per weight class per team, like that'd be awesome.
It should, and then I mean, yeah, only have one scoring kid. I get it. I totally
Then
get it.
all your coaches go to one event too. They don't have to
Mhm.
go. They don't have to drive over
Divide
here,
and
drive
conquer.
over here. Yeah.
There, we're curing the problem here. Like, no, really. I mean, you only have one scoring kid, so that way, if you don't have a kid, 2 kids in that weight class, and then the team stays together more. It's not like,
Yeah.
I know, I can only imagine that a JV tournament's got to be like, or a JV tournament on a Tuesday night, there has to be a handful of people in the. It's probably sucks.
They wouldn't. They
like
don't
the
typically. They
environment
wouldn't.
sucks.
They wouldn't have it on a Tuesday. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, like it's spread out. It's dispersed. Yeah, I think.
And exactly what Jim said. For us, for the wrestling fans, we'd rather go to that tournament because the odds of seeing good head-to-head matchups are 10 times better than some random duel throughout the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're making too much sense, guys. And on that note, we gotta stop it because we don't want to get canceled. Well, guys, let's do a real quick takeaways. What's your takeaway? Started with Mark Stewart, go to Dustin, then Jim. Final thoughts on the podcast.
Yeah, my final thoughts. One thing that we seem to forget as fans, oftentimes as coaches, this happened to me at one year when I was told I had the best team. I was going to run through the regional. I had these studs, and Nick Miller touched based on it. Oftentimes, like when you look at teams, you're so focused on the stars, right? But when you want to be successful as a program, as a team, it's more about the kids that aren't the big names, like having them ready. And when we look at a lot of these teams, we often forget that. And I really appreciated Nick bringing up like what they're looking at right now. It isn't these 5-6 kids; it's the other 8, and how they're going to fit out in regards to where Washington finishes this year, right? So for me, that was my big takeaway: is not to lose sight of like the 8 kids that aren't the big names.
I'm about to start singing. I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
Do it.
I'm gonna do it. We are the world.
We are the kids.
Dustin, what do you think?
Well said, Stewie. I think that based off of this conversation tonight and others that we've already had, this podcast will be instrumental in changing the landscape in high school wrestling competition as we know it. There will be no more head duels during the middle of the week. We're just wrestling on blackout Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays, and we're practicing the rest of the time. That's it.
Wow. Optimistic. All right, Jim.
I don't know. I got nothing really. Nick Miller's awesome. That was good. That was good. I like having these guys on and just listening to them. I mean, it's educational. I sit here and like I'm writing down things he's saying. Like I'm really interested in like being. It's super easy to be live here with him and listen to him opposed to like watching him because I can like I'm really paying attention to what he says. That was cool. I like sharp guy.
Yeah.
Like cut me in on more of the coach ones. I won't even talk. You can mute me. I just want to listen like I'm live.
Yeah, and I appreciate bringing in the coaches. This is just another example of why I think I'm motivated to do it. I think, wrestling, sometimes we create our silos and we don't talk to each other and we don't learn about each other and we don't have interaction. And I think this is a great opportunity to kind of drop the competitive standpoint and hear about people's programs, hear about what they're doing well, right? Obviously, so many people, so many other programs can learn from what Washington has done over the years, right? They are they've executed a program, process for their program that has been successful, and I think other programs can be, motivated and inspired to do the same. And hearing from those coaches that did it is definitely a helpful tool. So I hope that more coaches can kind of come on and kind of, bring the others up to their level and continue to grow just a general skill level at all programs. So I really appreciated it. So,
Yeah, for sure.
all right, guys, we'll talk soon.
I mean.
So yeah.